Hello, and thanks for joining us for today's webinar titled, Get Your DR Plan in Shape for 2018. My name is Kevin Collins from Unitrends, and I'm here with Dick Csaplar, Product Marketing Manager, and he'll be taking us through the presentation. And don't forget, one lucky attendee will be walking away with a $100 Amazon gift card. We'll contact the winner via email after the webinar. But before we get started, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. This session will be recorded, and after the event, you'll receive an email with a link to the on-demand version of the webinar. I would also encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation. You can do so by typing them into the Q&A box on the bottom right of the player. We'll answer your questions at the end of the session. At this point, I'll turn it over to Dick. Enjoy the presentation, and Dick, take it away.
I'm coming to you today from beautiful Burlington, Massachusetts, which is a suburb just outside of Boston. I have about 25 years of experience in IT. I started out at Digital Equipment Corporation, worked for Compaq. I did a stint with NEC and working out of Tokyo, and I was an analyst for Aberdeen Group before joining Unitrends. So I have quite an extensive background in IT and the growth of IT tools. So I just want to take the next 20 to 30 minutes or so and walk you through, do a little health check here on your DR plan and see how you can improve that. So here's your DR ready for 2018. So 2017 is almost over. Sit back, relax, pause, take a deep breath. I know this can be a very busy time with Q4 closings, financial closings, Q4 sales if you have anything to do with retail. But really there's a time, and it's kind of a natural time to stand back and say, you know, what happened in 2017 and can I improve on that for 2018? And that's what this presentation is really about. So there are a couple of tools that we're going to offer here for you. I'm going to ask 5 questions, basically asking you in your mind to answer these questions. I'm going to direct you to 4 calculators that that you can use to show yourself or your management what performance you should have been able to gain, and then direct you to a test, a DR health check test that you can do. And as a special bonus, I'm going to throw in some New Year's resolutions that you should probably make around your DR plan. So let's get started. Question number 1. Are you protecting all of your applications? And while that may sound like a simple question on the outside, it actually can get quite complex. Are you protecting all of your apps regardless of their technology, both physical and virtual? Are you protecting all your applications, whether they be based locally or in remote data centers or remote work sites? Also, are you protecting your cloud-based applications? Many people have a mistaken impression that cloud providers will do backup and recovery for applications in their cloud, and that is not the case. You are as responsible for protecting your cloud-based applications as you are your on-premise apps. And then finally, we're seeing particularly very aggressive growth rates in SaaS cloud-based applications such as Office 365 and Google Drive and so forth. And those are mission-critical applications, and you need to protect those as well. So just to drill down a little bit here on Office 365, Microsoft does offer some basic data protection capabilities with Office 365. But, for example, if you delete an email, and then Microsoft empties the wastebasket, that email is gone forever. It is literally unrecoverable. If you delete a SharePoint file or a OneDrive file, and Microsoft empties the wastebasket, that is gone. And for most cases, you can't recover granular details. You can't recapture an individual contact or an individual email. You have to kind of recover the entire email folder, and that can take up to a day. So there are better and more granular data protection capabilities that are available for Office 365, and obviously we ask you to look at ours. We provide all of that coverage and more. So what I suggest then is that you need to take an inventory of your applications. You need to know all of the applications, and then basically you triage those apps and try to identify which of those are the most critical. You know, if you're in a sales operation area, you know, your sales tools, manufacturing, your ERP applications, so forth. Those applications are far more critical to recover than, say, you know, employee expense reimbursement systems or vacation systems and things like that. So what you want to do is you want to take a list of those applications, you want to identify those that are the most critical, and you want to schedule them to recover first in whatever DR plan you may have in place, or you should consider disaster recovery as a service capabilities so that those applications can be recovered out of the cloud. I'm not going to go into it too much in this call, but Unitrends offers disaster recovery as a service capabilities, and we are the only provider that offers a 1-hour service level agreement for recovered applications, and that would be very appropriate for your most critical applications. So our first calculator I'm going to direct you to is a backup cost calculator. You can go in there and you can enter in things such as the number of sockets you're protecting, the physical servers, the storage volumes, and you can count and get an estimate of what your backup costs should be and how those compare to Windows-based backup software applications such as Veeam and Commvault and so forth. And so you can do a little bit of an analysis as to whether in 2017 you have spent more than you need to for your backup, or whether there's some opportunities to save some money. So I direct you to our Unitrends website and look for the backup cost calculator. Question number 2, how much does your downtime cost? This is really still a major issue with corporations. So we took a survey in both 2016 and 2017 asking, you know, literally over 800 corporations of different sizes, did they experience any data loss over the last 2 years? And what you can see is that still data loss is a major issue from downtime. And that data loss has an expense that's associated with it. And this is very important to understand because downtime is really expensive. The industry is coalescing around the number that it costs on average about $9,000 per minute. And that's, you know, companies of all different sizes. Your actual mileage may vary, so to speak. If you're a smaller company, less transactionally based, that $9,000 will be less. But if you're a large enterprise, they're easy, you know, financial trading systems or a sales company like Amazon, downtime can cost far more than that $9,000 a minute. And so what I did was I put together this chart to show you, you know, if you can get 95% availability for your systems, that sounds pretty good, but at $9,000 per minute downtime, you're talking literally millions of dollars worth of cost. And if you can just improve your the rate of recovery by 1 percentage point, you can see that you save your company literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, it's really important to understand the cost of your downtime because you need to have that figure in order to have a budget conversation about how much your company should be spending on disaster recovery. For example, if literally you're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars per hour of downtime, and your budget for DR is measured literally in $1,000, $2,000 range if you're SMB, obviously there's a disconnect there. You need to understand the cost of your downtime in order to have an informed and intelligent discussion with management about what your DR budget should be. And so to help you do that, I'm directing you to our second calculator. This is the cost of downtime. Here, you can put in the number of hours that you were down last month and see what the industry averages of costs of things such as reduced productivity, lost revenue, recovery costs, things like that. And so you can have a more educated conversation with management around the cost of your tools and your programs. Okay? Good. Question number 3. Can you protect the growing volumes of data that you're being asked to protect? Now, we also, in our cloud survey, we asked organizations to tell us the size of the volumes of the data that they are protecting. And you can see in just 1 year, from 2016 to 2017, the volumes of data that companies are being asked to protect. Companies reported that they have higher and higher volumes of data to protect. And we actually find that companies' data grows about 10% per year. And that compounds, obviously, year over year. And so the DR plans that you put in place last year, even a year before, may not be able to handle the increased volumes of data that you're being asked to recover. So again, the third calculator we're going to direct you to is cloud costs. And this is going to show you how the cost of data storage in the cloud and for DRaaS purposes can vary dramatically between hyperscale clouds such as AWS and Azure and Unitrends Recovery Cloud. So you go to this calculator and you can put in things such as the amounts of data you need protected, the number of expected recoveries you're going to have per year, the amount of data that needs to be retrieved per recovery, and then you'll see the actual cost based upon your exact situation. So you can customize this to your specific capabilities. Question number 4, can you meet the rising expectations of faster recoveries? In our survey last year, 62% of organizations responded that they have recovery time objectives of 4 hours or less. And that's quite dramatic. To recover an application that's failed, the data center goes down, and so forth, many times 4 hours is a very, very aggressive recovery time. Companies are expecting IT to increase that recovery time. That number is up from previous years, and we expect to see that increase over time, so that you are going to be under the gun to recover failed applications faster and faster. So we have created a calculator, a recovery time calculator. Here you would go in, you'd enter in the exact environments that you have, and then you'll receive back an estimate of how much time we believe, and the industry average is, to actually recover those applications based upon your specific requirements. So go to the recovery time calculator and learn for yourself what your recovery times should be and what they probably are. Now, I'll say again that if you're looking at disaster recovery as a service, this is becoming a far more accepted and more widely used solution for fast recovery times. Right now in Q4, about 50% of our sales, Unitrends sales, orders over $100,000 now include cloud storage and disaster recovery services. This is a growing tool that you should consider, and performance is getting better. And again, Unitrends is the only company that offers a 1-hour SLA for recovery from the Unitrends cloud, far exceeding the 4-hour RTO that most companies have on site. And finally, our last question. Do you really have confidence that you can recover from a downtime event? And the only way you will be able to answer this question for yourself is through testing. Testing is absolutely critical to really knowing whether you can recover, and it's a difference between knowing and hoping. And in our cloud survey, we found that a majority of organizations, and this is kind of frightening, 62% test their DR plans once a year or less. And that is way below what should be happening. You should be testing your recovery plans at least once a month or whenever there's a major change to your infrastructure, such as adding a server, opening up a new data center, adding a new rack, things like that. You will not know how those changes will affect your DR plan unless you test them. And by testing, I mean literally booting them up in a test and dev type environment all the way up to the application deployment level so that you can be sure that the applications actually install. Applications are quite complex. They have N number of tiers. They generally will reside on multiple servers, for example, for databases and so forth. And the only real way that you will know that you can recover is to actually test. So Unitrends has an automated recovery test system and applications called Recovery Assurance. And this will spin up and test your recovery in a test and dev environment all the way up to the application layer. If you also contract with our DRaaS, premium DRaaS services, we will include automated recovery testing on a monthly basis. And we will actually produce for you and let you know what your recovery capabilities are. And so we will, this is a shot of the user interface, the dashboard of our recovery series hardware and software appliances. And you can see right on the main screen of your dashboard how long, how many tests there have been, how many were successful, how many were able to meet your RTO and RPO objectives, and any that were at risk of failing or that failed. And if they do fail, what you will see is that you will get a report that actually shows you which of the application stacks actually failed and what the reasons were so that you can go back and fix those and then do another recovery test to make sure that that fix actually has been successful. Now, we also, with our Recovery Assurance product, issue a report that will show exactly what the RTO times were and how they met against objectives. This report is good enough and accurate enough that it can be used for compliance reporting. So we literally protect almost 1,000 hospitals or medical institutions around the world. And for those in the United States, there is HIPAA requirements that medical agencies have a disaster recovery in place and that they test them. And they actually use the reports from our Recovery Assurance application to give to the compliance agencies, the auditors, to show that not only do they have DR tests in place, but they're tested, and these reports are accepted as proof of that. So that's how good our Recovery Assurance is, and how that process can be used. So as promised, a couple of resolutions for 2018 that you should make for yourself. You should be spending no more than 1 hour per week managing your backups. With Unitrends, what you get is that you get, we will do your backups, and we will send you an email every day that will show a red, yellow, or green indicator on it, indicating when the backups were successful and which ones were not. So literally, you come in, you look at your email, you'll see all green, which will be literally 99% of the times, and you will know that your backups were successful, and you are done for that period of time. You don't have to worry about it again. Secondly, another resolution, you should always know the time of your last good backup, because that is the time that you can recover to, that you can actually actively recover the data from that point backwards. So again, that email will show you exactly when the last good backup took place. And with Unitrend's strategy of doing incremental backups, you can set that backup schedule to be fairly aggressive, multiple backups during the day, because they won't interrupt the production applications. Your third resolution, you should be able to recover lost files in no more than 5 minutes, from login to full restoration. recovering a lost file is actually one of the most requested IT functions in any industry. And I've talked to many customers in education, healthcare, finance, and recovering lost files is literally almost a daily occurrence. And so you should be able to go in. The user interface should be so simple that anybody in IT can do it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a single person, but literally log in, find that file, restore it, and log out in 5 minutes or less. And finally, you need to have a 1-hour DRaaS SLA, literally so that you can go to management and tell them that the DRaaS recovery will be in less than an hour. Now, most of our recoveries are literally in the time that it takes to boot up a server. So most of our DRaaS recoveries are measured in 5 or 10 minutes. The data is kept in a warm state because of recovery assurance that's taken place every month, or when there's been a change, or when you've initiated a test. We know that we will bring it up for you, but you get a 1-hour SLA DRaaS, and that will go a long ways in making you and your management more comfortable and knowing that you will be able to recover. So finally, I offer you up a 5-minute disaster recovery checkup. This is a test that you can take. You go in and put in your IT specifics, such as your outage exposure, your projected cost of downtime, how much data you're storing, and so forth. And then we will provide a 5-minute recovery, a 7-page report that basically tells you where you might be vulnerable or where you're well covered and what the industry standards are. And you will get for taking this, we will give you a $5 Starbucks gift card and the 7-page report for your information and your education. So go to Unitrends webpage. You'll see it in our resources section, or you can go to 5-minute-health-check link and take the report. It literally takes just about 5 minutes. We have a couple of other resources that are there for you. You can request a demo of anything that I've talked about today. We have the capability. Some of them are recorded. Some of them are live. Some of them can be scheduled, and we can do ones on request for you. Or you can talk to one of our continuity experts. They're available to talk to you about any of the issues that I've talked about today or any changes that may be coming in your 2018 infrastructure. So thank you very much for your attention. With that, I'd like to ask Kevin to come back, and he'll manage and host the QA portion of our webcast. Kevin?
Thanks, Dick. Great presentation. There's still time to ask a question. If you want to do so, please just type your question into the Q&A box in the right-hand corner, and we'll get to your question shortly. First question is, do you back up applications like Office 65, and is that part of your license, or is it an add-on?
Yeah, that is an add-on because of the structure and how Microsoft works. So it's not covered as part of the licensing of either our Recovery Series hardware appliance or our Unitrends Backup software appliance. It's a separate contract, and you can get that Office 365 coverage whether you have other Unitrends products or not. Sorry, I should have gone into that.
Next question is, does Unitrends work with all of the public clouds?
So we work with all of the larger hyperscale clouds, such as Amazon, Rackspace, Azure, Google, I think GoDaddy. So we do have to test them and make sure that, that we're simpatico with them. But all of the major ones that are kind of enterprise-oriented, we do work with. Now, the thing to remember is that we can cover applications that are running in Azure or AWS, for example. You could deploy one of our software recovery appliance in the Azure or AWS cloud. In fact, the software appliance is sold through both the Amazon and the Azure store. And then you can do backup and recovery, just like you would if you had a hardware appliance in your data center. And you can fail over to the same cloud. You can fail over to a different instance of the same cloud, like East Coast, West Coast, or you can actually fail over to a different cloud provider if you really want that kind of belt and suspenders type of protection.
Okay, next question is, how difficult is it to actually schedule the disaster recovery testing services?
It's not hard to schedule at all. In fact, you can implement them from your recovery assurance module. So if you are using our DRaaS services, that would be automated and would run automatically once a month, and you can set that schedule so that you get the report each month and you don't have to do anything in order to do that. You would run this, so we would include with our premium DRaaS services a copy of recovery assurance, and then you can initiate the test from that application and then get the report from that. So it's not hard at all. You don't have to call us. It's done through our software.
Okay, next question is the cloud compliant with HIPAA and CJIS?
Yes. Yes, you need. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of compliance standards. SOX, HIPAA. There's one if you're doing credit cards. There's all sorts of financial ones. New York State has their own. And so that list of compliances is available on our website. I do know we are compliant for those those reports. We literally have hundreds and hundreds of hospitals and medical institutions, as well as financial institutions, banks. You'll see a lot. We have over 100 customer success stories on our website, and you can see how they use our products and services.
All right. One last question, and then we'll wrap it up. We're almost out of time. The last question is, how does Unitrends license their software and appliances? Okay.
So the hardware appliance is fully licensed when you buy it. There are no licenses, for example, for particular operating systems or applications. We have about 350 hypervisors, operating systems, and applications on our compatibility matrix, which is also available on our website, and the license covers all of them. So you don't have to worry about it. You add a new server, you add a new application in the middle of the year, you don't have to get another license and manage it separately. Our software application, our software appliance, Unitrends Backup, is licensed per socket for virtual environments and per physical server for physical devices. So again, nothing based upon the operating system or hypervisor or any of the software. Very simple to do, and it's one of the advantages we have over our competitors.
All right. Well, thank you very much. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded, and you'll receive an email with a link to the on-demand version, and we'll also announce the $100 Amazon gift card winner, and we'll get those gift cards out to you as quickly as possible so you can use them in time for the holidays. Thanks again. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to having you on future webinars. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.